Would you pay over $72,000 for a Nissan?
Brand new for $145,000. Here you have one for $54,000.
I have lived with a mindset of if I want it, I'm going to get it.
Welcome to the Audit Room. These are real financial decisions from real people. We discuss what went wrong and then provide feedback and helpful insights that we can all learn from. With auto loan debt being at a record high $1.69 trillion, repossessions are also at an all-time high. Between 1.5 and 2 million repossessions a year in the United States alone. That's about 5,000 car repossessions a day. Today, we've got some crazy videos to show you exactly how bad the auto loan crisis has gotten. Let's take a look.
I'm learning the hard way that just because you can make a payment on something doesn't mean that you can afford it. For 30 years, I have lived with a mindset of if I want it, I'm going to get it. I didn't care what it affected or who it affected, if it was going to cause us to not meet one of our goals, or if it was going to cause us to live paycheck to paycheck. And now I'm 48 years old. I've already lived half of my life, and I'm just now figuring out what that mindset actually cost me, which was peace, progress, and a whole lot of missed opportunities. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm learning the hard way, and it has cost my family, and it has cost me. Here I am stuck in a car that I had to have 2 years ago, financed $78,000 for it. I pay $1,100 a month. I owe $57,000 on it, and they appraised it for $40,000, and we don't even own our own home yet.
Okay, wow. Let's take a closer look at those numbers that she just kind of glossed over real quick. So the original loan was $78,000, and that was 2 years ago. She owes $57,000 on the vehicle, and it was appraised, and it's only worth $40,000. Now, in just 2 years, that's a 49% drop in value. A whopping $38,000 loss in 2 years. Now, usually in a business, when you take a loan out for something, you're going to beat the interest rate with the profit that you're going to make from that money that's coming in. That's the only time it's smart to take out a loan in business. So I'm trying to figure out why that logic would be any different when getting a loan for a new car. People always tell me that the repairs for the old car cost a lot of money and buying a new car could be cheaper, but I don't know about you, I've never paid $20,000 a year for car repairs. In fact, I can buy a reliable $10,000 car every year and still come out on top. Now, let me get one thing clear here. I'm a huge advocate for it's your money, spend it how you want. If you want to spend $200,000 on a Lambo and you've got the cash to put down on it, and that's what really makes you happy and that's what you really want in life, and spend the $200,000. But I can almost never recommend somebody finance a vehicle, especially when the interest rates are getting into the 15%, 20% APR. The interest you're paying on that just gets ridiculous, and it's just not a good way to spend your money because you're just giving so much of it to the bank and none of that money is even going towards the car. With that being said, minimizing the amount of net worth that you have tied up in depreciating assets like vehicles is going to be the best. Just keep that as low as possible. Now, this lady got a loan for $78,000 and she didn't have a house yet. Now, I understand a lot of people, home ownership, it's not a goal that they even care about, but $78,000 is a quarter of the way to a basic home, especially in the Midwest. That would be $312,000. Can you imagine if she just, instead of putting all that money into a vehicle, just saved it? She could buy a home for almost cash. Speaking of cash, that reminds me, once we hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, we're doing a free cash giveaway. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, comment on a video, and like a video. And that's it. You're entered in for a chance to win free cash. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, one lucky person is going to get $150 sent to them completely free, no strings attached. All you need to do is subscribe. Now, before we start this next video, let me ask you one question. How much would you pay for a basic Nissan SUV that doesn't have four-wheel drive? Got a number in your head? Okay, now let's see how much they actually cost.
Would you pay over $72,000 for a Nissan? This is the 2025 Nissan Armada SL rear-wheel drive. It has a starting price of $62,970, an extra $750 for the captain's chairs in the second row, another $3,370 for the Pro Pilot Assist package, which is like the ambient lighting, head-up display, and intelligent all-around view. You've got $400 for the splash guards, another $560 for the crossbars, another $550 for the carpet floor mats, and then a $2,010 destination fee, which brings the total to $70,610. Then this dealership adds another $2,195 for the Nissan Pro Pack, which is basically window tint, wheel locks, and nitrogen in the tires, which brings the total price to $72,805 for the 2025 Nissan Armada.
First of all, you just know this dealership is scammy when they're trying to do the old gimmick of upcharging you for putting nitrogen air in your tires, when the normal air we breathe is already 78% nitrogen. Like, how dumb do they think people are? And to even put that on the vehicle and say you're upcharging for it is just crazy. Just imagine all the other little things they tacked on that they're basically just scamming you out of. And tack on they did. Let's not forget, this is essentially a base model, two-wheel drive SUV for $74,000. Now, MSRP for this is $62,970, so that's already $12,000 over, and I know they said those features were this much, but, you know, they could easily just be fudging those numbers just a little bit, and maybe those features actually come with the base model, so who knows? Now, I was genuinely intrigued by the price tag of this. $74,000 is mind-blowing for me. I don't know if it's mind-blowing for you guys or if I'm the crazy one, but I figured, hey, maybe they're justifying that price somehow. So, you know, let's see how much horsepower this thing has. Let's see what kind of engine this thing has. So, first of all, I looked up the horsepower. 425 horsepower. That's pretty good. Okay, that's above average, I think. To get that 425 horsepower, they took a 3.5 liter V6. Now, if you don't know that much about cars, a 3.5 liter engine is not that big. It's actually quite small considering this is a full-size SUV. So now you might be wondering, well, how are they squeezing all of that horsepower out of a 3.5 liter engine? And the answer to that is turbochargers. Now, turbocharging an engine isn't inherently bad, but it adds several more points of failure, especially when you have two turbochargers, like in this vehicle. Putting turbochargers in a soccer mom daily driver type of vehicle 20 years ago would have been basically unheard of. Manufacturers didn't do it because, like I said, it added more points of failure. The unreliability factor was something of concern back then. And the only reason manufacturers are doing it nowadays is not because the technology has improved. It's basically the same but more complicated. They're doing it because of the government emission standards. See, the government emission standards get more and more strict every single year, forcing the manufacturers to make smaller and smaller engines while still hitting the same horsepower numbers that their customers expect. Does this help the MPG? Well, not really. Believe it or not, better emissions out the tailpipe does not necessarily equate to better MPG. And I looked up the MPG numbers for the new Nissan Armada, and it's 18 combined. Not terrible, but not good by any stretch of the imagination. Basically, the biggest loser in every scenario is the customer, the person that's buying the car. This is why I always tell people, just because a vehicle is new doesn't mean it can't break down, especially nowadays when the quality control has just hit rock bottom. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just going to stick to my local Facebook listing and buy a $5,000 20-year-old Suburban. It's going to probably be more reliable anyway, and it gets the same MPG. Well, this girl made a post saying, "Me, because my dumb A decided to finance a vehicle for the first time ever in 2024, not fully understanding the damage of having an APR of 18%. Now I've paid well over $6,000 so far to this vehicle. Only $1,000 has actually gone to paying it off, and I still have $21,000 to pay. The original price was $22,000. It's not completely their fault. In the United States, Compound interest and debt and basic things of personal finance are never actually taught in the school system ever. It just seems like a really basic thing they could gloss over quick in one of their classes, and it would save thousands of kids from going into huge debt that basically ruins their future finances. But on the other hand, the American economy is fueled from debt. So maybe the people at the top don't want that. If you need just one reason not to buy a new car, watch this next video.
How horrible the depreciation has been on the Karma. Now, I don't know who's buying these. I've literally never seen one on the streets, but here you have one for sale, brand new, for $145,000. And here you have one from 2021 with only 9,000 miles for $54,000. So if you bought this car brand new, you would have lost yourself around $100,000, which is insane. Now, I do think these look pretty cool. Design-wise, I would take this over a Model S for sure. I've literally never seen one on the street before, so I don't even know if these are good cars, bad cars. Honestly, I have no idea. And I'm really curious if any of you guys have owned one or know anyone who's ever owned one, if they're reliable. I would think they're not going to be very reliable cars, but I could be wrong. Either way, it's a car I would definitely.
So this is an electric car with an insane range of just 61 miles? 81 miles if you get the 21-inch wheels, less drag. But with all jokes aside, it's actually a plug-in hybrid. So after those 61 miles of electric battery run out, the generator kicks on, so you get to listen to an engine scream at the same RPM while it charges the battery so you can drive. It's basically just a luxury performance version of a Toyota Prius. I think it's pretty obvious once you take a closer look at this vehicle why it's depreciating so fast. Well, number one, we know EV vehicles depreciate insanely fast because batteries have a limited lifespan. Eventually, they have to be replaced. And as we've learned with Tesla cars, if just one cell of that entire battery pack goes out, you can't just replace that one cell of the battery. No, all the voltages in that whole battery pack have to be close enough or the computer won't let the car move. So you end up having to drop the entire battery pack and replace the entire thing, which can be upwards of $30,000. And the worst thing about these new electric vehicles, in my opinion, is everything is just way too overcomplicated. Everything has to run through the computer. You want to open your gas cap? Well, there's a button on your phone you can do to open, but it's got to run through the computer. There's got to be wires that run through there. You want to open your door handle? Well, that's got to run through the computer. You want to do literally anything in the car that should just be dead simple and mechanical and require no wires or electricity or computers. Well, they figured out a way to overcomplicate it and make it more expensive. That way, when it breaks, it's going to cost you a small fortune, actually probably a large fortune. It's just inevitable that one of the many tens of thousands of sensors is going to either break or misread something and your car won't be able to move. You're going to have to take it to the dealership to get it repaired because a normal person is going to have no way of figuring out what is wrong and how to even fix that with how much technology and complexity they're pushing into these cars. And pair that with this company, Karma, that I'm sure nobody has heard of, that nobody even knows where you can find a dealership to do the repairs. It's no wonder why they have depreciated so fast. Well, that does it for this video. Like I said before, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a free cash giveaway to one of you lucky guys. So you might as well hit that subscribe button. Hey, you got a chance of winning some free money. Why not, right? With that being said, thank you for watching.